I was sitting on the edge of the bed, staring out the window of the inn. The sky was pale pink, quiet, calm. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. My wedding dress hung carefully on the closet door, my shoes placed neatly beside it. My hands trembled slightly, not from nerves, but from hope. Maybe for once this day would go right. I opened the door. It was my mother and father smiling in a way that made my skin tighten. "Close your eyes, sweetheart," Mom said, her voice sweet like syrup. "We have a surprise for you. Something special. A pre-wedding tradition. A gift from us," Dad added, gripping a brown box behind his back. I paused. A flicker of unease sparked in my chest. But I was trying so hard to believe they'd changed. They hadn't ruined the rehearsal dinner the night before. They hadn't made passive-aggressive comments about the dress or the guest list. Maybe, just maybe, they were trying to make amends. So I closed my eyes. They led me to the center of the room where I stood in my robe, heart fluttering. I felt something cool touch the back of my neck. At first, I thought it was a necklace. Then I heard the sound, buzz, and again, buzz. I screamed. My eyes flew open as the razor buzzed again and again. My mom held my shoulders in place as my dad roughly dragged the clipper through the top of my head. "What are you? Stop. Stop it," I cried, shoving them off with both hands, stumbling to the mirror. My hair, my long, curled brown hair, the hair I had grown and cared for, the hair I had booked months of appointments for. It now fell in clumps on the floor. I stared at my reflection. I looked like someone else, like nothing. My scalp was patchy, one side completely shaved, the rest uneven and butchered. They stood behind me, not even pretending to regret it. "We couldn't let you marry him like that," my mom said coldly. "You've always used your looks to manipulate people. We did you a favor," Dad added. "Now he'll see you for who you really are." I backed away. I couldn't breathe. The room spun. "Get out," I whispered. "Get out." But they didn't. They stood watching me cry in the mirror like it was a performance. And then they left, smug, like they'd just saved me from myself. When my best friend Camille found me 15 minutes later, she nearly screamed, "Oh my God, Ellie, who did this to you?" I couldn't answer. I just pointed at the floor. She covered my head with a towel and called the stylist, the makeup artist, and then the venue. She told the wedding planner to delay everything by 2 hours. But I was frozen. I couldn't move. I didn't want to be seen. Not by my guests, not by my fiancé, not by the world. "I can cancel everything," she whispered. "I'll tell everyone you got sick. You don't have to go through with it." But then I remembered something. A conversation from 3 nights ago when my mother accidentally left her phone unlocked near me. I had seen a message pop up from my sister. "Are you sure this will make her cancel the wedding?" And my mother's reply, "She's vain. No groom wants a bald bride. It'll be over by noon." They wanted me humiliated. They wanted me alone. I wasn't going to give them that. I stood up slowly. "Call the stylist back," I told Camille. "Tell her not to bring the wig. I want everyone to see what they did." Camille blinked. "Are you sure?" I nodded. "I'm walking down that aisle bald. But why? Because I'm done hiding and I'm done letting them win." I had no idea what was coming next. I didn't know that my wedding would go viral. That a guest would post a photo of me walking proudly bald in my wedding dress and the whole world would see the truth. But in that moment, I only knew one thing. This wasn't just a wedding anymore. It was a war. And I wasn't the victim anymore. The wedding ceremony began an hour late. Camille had called in reinforcements, 2 stylists, a makeup artist, and someone who could adjust my veil to work with the bare skin on my scalp. There was no salvaging what had been done, no covering it up. So we leaned into it. They smoothed the buzzed patches, removed the uneven clumps, and framed my face with soft makeup and a delicate pearl headband instead of a veil. I stared at my reflection. I didn't see broken anymore. I saw fire. When I stepped into the garden, there was a visible shift. In the crowd, gasps, whispers, phones held low, snapping photos. My fiancé, Tyler, stood at the altar, eyes wide, lips parted, but not in horror, in awe. I could feel it. He took a step toward me the second I reached him. "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen," he said in a voice so soft it nearly broke me. What happened later? I whispered, "Just be with me right now." The ceremony was short, but the photos instant wildfire. By the time we reached the reception, guests were coming up one by one, asking if I was okay. Some knew what had happened. Others had only seen the damage, but it didn't take long. Tyler's cousin posted a photo with the caption, "Her parents shaved her head on her wedding morning. She still showed up like a damn queen." By the time dinner was served, it had 400,000 likes. By dessert, it had 1.2 million. But I hadn't seen it yet. I was still watching the entrance, half expecting my parents to show up in fake tears or claim it was just a misunderstanding. But they didn't. Instead, my mother posted a cryptic Facebook status that read, "Some people are too sensitive to take a joke." And my sister commented, "What kind of bride can't handle a little family humor?" That's when I lost it. I turned my phone to Camille and said, "Do you still have those screenshots?" She nodded. Of course. We had saved everything. The texts, the audio message my sister accidentally sent while laughing about how bald Ellie would cry, and the screenshot of my mother saying, "No man wants a bald wife. She'll walk away before the vows." Camille looked at me. "Want me to post them?" "No," I said. "Not yet." Because something else had happened after the ceremony. Tyler's aunt, a quiet, reserved woman I hadn't spoken to much, had pulled me aside. She was a litigator. "I saw the bruising on your scalp," she said, "and I heard what happened. If you want to pursue it, I can help." It hadn't even crossed my mind, but the second she said it, something in me clicked. This wasn't just emotional abuse. It was assault. On my wedding day, I had been physically violated by my own parents, and they were laughing about it online. So I nodded. Yes, I want to pursue everything. And I meant everything. That night, after the last dance, I didn't toss a bouquet. I tossed a plan into motion. First, Camille quietly shared the screenshots to the same viral post, but not under my name. A burner account posted every receipt, every shred of evidence. No lies, no exaggeration, just the truth, line by line. By sunrise, it had over 4 million views. By noon, my parents were trending, but not the way they liked. My dad, who was running for a minor town council seat, got bombarded by reporters asking about the bride buzzcut incident. My mother, who ran a small wedding consultancy, started losing clients left and right. Their emails leaked. Venues began pulling contracts. My sister, an influencer with a beauty page, lost 3 brand deals within hours. And me? I got an email from a journalist at a major outlet. Subject line, "Would you be willing to share your story? You may inspire a generation." But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. I was already designing a campaign of my own. Not for revenge, but for something deeper. Something that would rewrite the narrative about daughters like me. Girls who had been mocked, manipulated, or torn down under the label of family tradition or just a joke. And I had just the name for it. Project Crownless. Because sometimes when they take your crown, you rise up and wear fire instead. It didn't take long for everything to unravel. By Monday morning, the media had caught on. My parents' faces, once smiling in their family portraits and holiday newsletter photos, were now plastered across articles titled, "Bride's Head Shaved by Parents' Gift Demands Justice." When tradition becomes abuse, a bride's story that broke the internet. She said I do without hair, but with more dignity than her whole family. My mother released a statement. Through a Facebook post, we only meant to help her look more mature and elegant. She even tried to spin it as a health decision. said I had split ends. People weren't buying it. Meanwhile, my sister posted a TikTok where she sobbed in fake tears about how she was being bullied online just for being a bridesmaid. But all it did was flood the comments with, "You should have been the one to get shaved. You laughed. Now take the heat. You destroyed your own sister. Don't expect sympathy." And then came the court order. Thanks to Tyler's aunt, my newly favorite person on earth, we were able to file charges for assault, emotional distress, and public defamation. We had every shred of evidence. Audio of my sister whispering, "Dad's gonna pee his pants when he sees her bald." Text from my mom, "Let's do it before makeup. Make her cry. It'll tighten the eyes." Yes, she actually said that. But the poetic moment wasn't in court. It was 2 weeks later when I received an invitation. A luxury event planning company known for empowering women through fashion. A narrative had seen the story. They wanted me to walk the runway for their fall campaign. No wigs, no makeup, just truth. I said yes. On the night of the event, as I stood backstage, the designer pinned a golden vine-shaped headpiece around my buzzed scalp. "We call it the reclamation tiara," she said softly. "It's for women who had their crowns stolen by those who claim to love them." I nearly broke down again. When I stepped onto that stage, something inside me snapped into place. People stood, phones lit up, and for the first time in years, I didn't shrink in shame. I soared. Meanwhile, my mother's consultancy business collapsed. Her wedding clients started tagging me in their cancellation notices. I'd rather get married in a parking lot than let her near my big day. My father. The town council dropped him from the ballot. Too much controversy. My sister. Her beauty brand changed its name, deleted her posts, and quietly removed her from the website. But that wasn't even my doing. That was karma. The truth. The people. All I did was finally speak. I gave one interview on a major podcast where I told everything, not as a sob story, but as a warning for any girl being raised to stay silent, to take the humiliation because it's family. For any woman made to feel like her value was in her looks, her hair, her ability to please. At the end of that podcast, I said one line that went viral around the world. "They shaved my head to control me, but all they did was free me." That quote landed on t-shirts, banners, activist art. And one morning, I passed a local school playground and saw a group of middle school girls wearing headbands, shaped like gold vines. One looked at me and said, "I love your haircut." I smiled and said, "Me too." Because this isn't just about revenge. This is about taking the blade they used to hurt you and forging your crown from it.